Okay, so hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, August the 16th, and we are continuing in our study of A Course in Miracles. We are in chapter 3, The Innocent Perception, and section 2, Miracles as True Perception. And today we will be tackling paragraph number 3. Would anyone like to start us off in prayer? Okay, I will. Let's just for a second, just take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. Center ourselves at this moment in time where we are in perfect alignment with essence. There is only one source. The source is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. It is all that there is and will ever be. And that source lives in us, operates as us. And as we move and have our being, we center and focus our thoughts, reminding ourselves over and over that we are one mind with creation. We are one mind with love. We are one mind with peace, beauty, victory, glory, perfection. And as we allow ourselves this opportunity today to come together to just look over these this manuscript of in A Course in Miracles, so that we can find the things that maybe need some bolstering in our lives, or some things that we have questions about, or some things we have never even thought about. So we glory in this opportunity to come together as like-minded people so that we can see and hear and know this opportunity, which we call truth. And with that truth, we release all this love and all of this knowledge and all of this oneness and all of this perfection, not only in our hearts and in our minds and our personal space, but also through our nation and our world. And with that, we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Okay.
Okay, would you like to read our paragraph, Harriet?
I will do just that. How is everybody today? We are, as has already been mentioned, in chapter 3, section 2, and the third paragraph, which reads, when you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. This is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference. It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle. The miracle perceives everything as it is. If nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. I have said that only what God creates, or what you create with the same will, has any real existence. This, then, is all the innocent can see. They do not suffer from distorted perception. Wow. When you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. When I read that, the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that when you are accused, whatever judgment you make on someone else, it's a reflection of you. you're seeing yourself through the eyes of the brother or the sister. Is that right? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I
But
do.
anyway, you're looking at yourself in the mirror is basically what I'm saying. When you make that kind of judgment on a brother or a sister. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
no, I kind of went through the miracles, the 50 principles,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna have to do it again. I wrote them down, the ones that I thought kind of addressed what is being talked about in this particular paragraph. And the first one that I came across that I felt was relative is number 20. Miracles reawaken the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth. This is the recognition that leads to the healing power of the miracle. And basically, I think it's that first sentence in that principle number 20. Miracles reawaken the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I think, is relevant to that first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
well, I guess maybe for me, when you lack confidence in what someone will do,
mhm,
you are test. Well, I think that for me that you have to be specific in what your and why you lack confidence in that other individual.
yeah,
I think that this is such a general statement
mhm.
that and I get it why we using generalities.
Yeah, because
Um,
it could be anything.
it could be anything, and
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't know. I can't say that if I'm attesting to that person is not in their right mind. I can't say what that I can't say that that's what it is.
Mhm,
At this moment, simply because I don't know what the situations are different. I might lack confidence in somebody because they have leadership and they're not good at it, and well, then that would definitely mean that they're not in their right mind. But
I say what you just said again.
it might be someone, if I lack confidence in someone, it
Mhm,
might be in a leadership role,
right.
and if I lack confidence in that person, that's me attesting that they are not in their right mind. And so I can't really necessarily say that sometimes they might not be in their right mind. Some people might, if it is a liar and they're
Mhm,
lying and I know that they're lying and everybody else knows that they're lying, you know
mhm.
then we know that they're not in their right mind. But some people are just might just it might just be growth. They
Or lack of knowledge.
lack of knowledge, or and even on my part. So just because I lack confidence in somebody, it does. I don't know that it really means for me. That's such a definite statement. I think that this is the statement that is just a general statement.
Right, because I don't know what you know unless you tell me. And you
Mm,
don't know what I know unless I tell you.
right.
And if I make the assumption that what I know and your words or your actions or whatever show me that you don't know, it is my duty, and I can't think of any other way to put it, but to share with you what I know that you don't seem to know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I think that this is just a general statement because
Mhm.
it might hold true in some instances, but I don't know, for me, maybe it doesn't hold true in every instance.
Right. Yeah.
Good evening.
Hey, what do you
Hey,
think,
Richard.
Richard?
Hey, good to hear y'all's voices. So being in the mindset now, I think both of you all, and how you doing, Forrest? I think Forrest is on here. Um,
Mhm.
couple of y'all saw some recent posts that I put up. I think I understand innocence.
Oh, uh-huh.
And given this is, sort of an extension of that same sort of concept, then when I look at this sentence, there's two things that pop off at me. One is the lacking in confidence, and the other
Mhm.
is, sort of the belief, how my lack of confidence affects my belief about you. And I find that interesting because, anytime we're operating in a state of lack, and
Mhm.
especially if we're talking about a lack of confidence, like any of those sorts of things distort our perception of reality, which, in turn causes us, to have this sort of belief. So I'm finding this sentence very interesting. When you lack confidence, and not in what somebody thinks or anything of that nature, but lacking confidence in what they do,
Mhm.
then it when you lack that confidence, when you lack that confidence, and Harriet, as you said, it then puts you on a judgment trajectory as to what you believe
Mhm.
in the other person. And I think one of the things that I'm realizing now is, kind of having operated under that, I haven't made room for miracles to exist. And, because I'm lacking the confidence, and I'm already having the belief that somebody else is not in their right mind. So now I'm um also not believing that miracles can happen, that things can happen outside of, sort of that thought process. So I think that there's something very interesting about that sentence, and I think the journey that sentence is going to take us on as we go through to verse 8.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I'm
Mhm.
glad you showed me that because, like I said, for me, it was just such a general statement that, yeah, because when you see lack confidence in what someone will do, um, yeah, I think, yeah, still for me, I would have to, it's so situational. I don't know. I don't even know if I would, who would I lack confidence in?
Can I ask
What,
a,
you know,
can I ask a
but
follow up?
yeah.
Because I think you bring something up that's interesting. I think it gets to something that I think I'm still pondering, and that is um this that this whole idea of lack. that
Yeah.
that when we hit the ground running and operate with somebody else, and we get to a point where we lack confidence, that means something to me.
Yeah. That part's very true.
But I'm also wondering that maybe it's one of those things, like, sometimes we use the word judgment when we could
Mhm.
be better served by using discernment,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
as I'm thinking about that and listening to you, Penny, I'm wondering if there's, a word shift or something that might strike you um that might hit on this a little bit more. Um,
hmm
I'm not sure. I just wanted to kind of ask that question and see if anything struck you, like what would make
Yeah.
that
Well,
sentence
I
work.
mean, because the sentence in itself, I get. If I am lacking, say if there is someone that I am lacking confidence, and yeah, at some point I don't. I don't believe I
Mhm.
don't believe in their abilities.
Mhm.
And I don't believe that they are in their right mind, probably because I know them some, because that's what, to me, when that's why it seems like, if it's situational, I would have to know something about that individual, whether I have confidence in that person or not, you
Right.
know, or even if if and even if it's myself, if I lack confidence in that person, and it's because, do I not believe in their capabilities, or do I not believe that a miracle is possible? Because I mean, I guess we all have said, well, they ain't gonna never be, something or nothing or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
that their whole family was that, and they ain't gonna
Mhm.
never be, and you know, um, but and now that I understand right-mindedness, what is a right mind,
Mhm.
then I know that, if they are not, if I don't have confidence in them, and I see that they are not using their right mind, then, you know, um, I don't know. I think that now I am, for me, the shift is, you know, how do I take things? How am I taking things? I used to take things very much in general,
Mhm.
but I I don't take things in general. I mean, I still speak in generalities, but
Mhm.
I don't necessarily take things, for granted, that that this is a generalized statement.
Got you. The reason, and part of the reason why I asked is because there's one key thing that, so I'm so divine today. It is crazy. And I feel so connected today, and I've been getting messages. And the one thing that I'm noticing that's not stated here, but it's being stated in my head, is the role of divine in all of this.
Mhm.
Because in when we lack confidence, then that says that we may be out of alignment with
Mhm.
our awareness of how divine we are.
Mhm.
And then it kind of impacts our belief that someone else isn't in their right mind, which even then, at that point in time, um, the question for me is, I might look at somebody and say, they're not in their right mind based off of, our conversations about what I left those conversations with. But I'm starting to think now that there's a lot of things that I don't think I have to worry about no more, because
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
starting to understand what it's like to trust divine.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, and I won't talk too much longer. I'm just fired up because I just left my twin flame house, and I've gotten some very clear messages from divine particularly. Um but it's interesting to think about the role of divine in all of this, and the divine, uh, without and within. I mean, it's it's
Right.
all
Yeah.
connected. I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to say that, but that's the one thing
Hmm.
I feel like that keeps hitting me right now, that's missing is, and I guess that's why, because I keep seeing, and I'm just gonna read too, this is hardly a
Yeah.
miracle based frame of reference, that I keep going. I think that word miracle keeps hitting out to me and reminding me and making me think that, um our trust in divine might surpass the interference that our ego may have in causing us to have a lack of confidence in self. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it did.
It did.
Okay.
It did.
Yeah, and with this second sentence, this is hardly a miracle based frame of reference. And for me, that's kind of like saying, I don't, when somebody's not in their right mind, whether it's me or somebody else, because we're all growing and learning, and somebody might, you know, um, be hard headed and stubborn and content and where they are. But by being this is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference. I think that that's kind of like saying to me that, you know, don't um don't place a judgment on that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mhm.
Because miracles come, I mean, I have seen enough miracles to know that miracles come from everywhere,
Yes, they do.
you know. Yeah. And
Ashe.
And sometimes those miracles are so small they just, and you don't even realize that it has occurred.
Mm,
mhm.
mm, mm, mm.
And everything in itself is a miracle. I mean, even if I'm, with a person that I lack confidence in, then the miracle for me is just to find out why I don't have confidence in this person.
Exactly.
And what do they have to do with me? And even if this is what it is, I'm still gonna be okay in the end.
Right. Right. Well, I think sometimes we might lack confidence in somebody because we don't really know them, like, and I think this is the ultimate as far as knowing another person, as a mother knows their child. You've known them from the time they took their first breath, and based on the behavior and what they say, as long as you're around them, you kind of know where they're coming from. And it happens with couples. They become so attached, and I'm probably using the wrong word there, but they are so attuned to each other. That's the word. They're so attuned to each other that when one is saying something and is struggling to try and find to put their thoughts into words, their mate can actually finish the sentence exactly the way the other one wanted to finish that sentence, even though they were struggling with how to phrase it. And I think sometimes we forget that, and I don't care how close you are with a person, I don't think anybody shares everything.
Right. We
And
don't
when
know
I
it.
say everything,
We
with
don't know
with
each
the
other.
people that we know and trust the most. And when you say something or do something or propose something to the other person, that lacks the confidence in what it is you're proposing, they don't they because you have not shared with them your what you would probably consider your knowledge and expertise as far as whatever it is that you want to do. And then when you, in whatever way you carry out what it is you're proposing, the other person will be pleasantly, we hope, surprised that, hey, I didn't have the confidence, but I'm pleased, you know.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to number 3.
Okay.
It has also the disastrous effort of denying the power of the miracle.
Oh, wow.
It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle. What's that? Your lack of confidence?
Yes. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the way
yeah.
I
I
read
mean,
it too.
anytime you're in lack of anything, I mean, it does kind of like deny the power of the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that miracles happen anyway.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I can't really, I mean, I might be denying the power of the miracle to myself in particular, but the miracle will happen whether, it doesn't have anything to do with me or not. I might not be able to see it when it happens or be able to understand it to be aware of it, but the miracle still happens. The power of the miracle will still prevail, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I can't see a disastrous effect. Me, that's what I'm saying. I
Right.
can't see a disastrous effect because the miracle will always happen, whether my lack, however I'm lacking anything, it I don't think that it stops the miracle. I might not see the miracle as it is, but eventually I will see the miracle because the miracle always happens. It always takes place. But I
Gotcha.
guess I get what this is saying, that is a disastrous effect if I am, if I'm trusting in my lack, and if and I'm not believing, if I'm trusting in my lack.
Um, could these statements be a roundabout way of um how do I want to phrase this now? Of looking at the ego.
Yeah, all of us looking at the ego.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think all of this is really coming back down to,
Yeah, all
the
of this is about the ego.
the conversation that we've been having about innocence.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Hmm.
and this
Innocence and truth.
and what innocence and true perception, right? Truth. Um, because when I look at this last one, it says, it also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle, not a
Hmm.
miracle, the miracle. I start thinking about the laws of attraction. And in that, if I lack confidence and I don't think that somebody is in their right mind, then that thought, that energy is going to come back. Like that's what I'm going to get.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think it's for me, it's all of this is starting to make me come back to this idea of when we're dealing with someone who may not have a history of being in their right mind, or if we're dealing with someone who just hasn't done the things that would give us confidence in them. When we
Mhm.
deal with them, that the ideal maybe is, or the challenge to us is to look at them with childlike wonder.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
when we do that, then that energy that we put out has a it can have a miraculous effect. We can open up for the miracles to happen. If we don't do that and we just keep them in judgment, then that's the space that they're going to be in, and we're not going to get that that uh that return of that energy that we put out. So
Yeah.
when I look at everything through this concept of innocence that I think solidifying, now it's starting to paint a different picture for me in terms of what the aspiration is. I'm not that type of person now. There's some people I don't have no confidence in, and I don't believe they in their right mind. And I today I'm realizing that maybe even with people, I need to figure out how to have this innocence with them, seeing them for the first time. That's that feels weird, but that's what I'm being drawn to think.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Huh.
excuse me. And as I look at this, I try to go back when I started reading this 20 years ago. What did my 20-year, what did that
Yeah.
mind see? How did that see this? and it probably just was a bunch of words strung together.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
now, because I have been working in A Course in Miracles for, over 20 years, now I'm able to understand um, more of the majority of the concepts, you know, and like I said, it has a disastrous effect of denying the power. That's if I lack confidence in something or someone,
Mhm.
because I don't have to have confidence in them. I can have confidence in that. And I don't know, this is going to sound very, like predestination, and
Predestined, yeah.
I don't want to say it like that because that's not exactly what I'm thinking, but it's close enough. Because if I lack confidence in, say, anybody, and we are all not always in our right mind. We are always thinking something negative or having some type of disapproving attitude or something like that. To be in my right mind means that, constantly I am focused on um light and innocence and truth. I'm not always there. So, I think that for me that this is saying um when I'm not there and I'm not in my right mind because I am living in lack for whatever reason, I still have to be open enough for the miracle. And the miracle is happening anyway, whether I see it or not. I don't have to see it for it to be there. And I think that most of the time, we're busy looking for some type of proof, evidence, facts. But we really honestly truly don't need them.
Right. Penny, you said this twice. Can I ask a question? You said the miracle is going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, and that's why I said, predestination kind of is a part of it
Right.
because, say, this is just an example.
Uh-huh.
Say the miracle is that, you know, um, we're not gonna be hit as bad from the hurricane as the next county over
Gotcha.
or the tornado. It was That was going to be the miracle anyway. The miracle was going to show itself anyway. Now, I could be that kind of person that, okay, I told so and so to batten down the hatches, but at the time I didn't have confidence. I lacked confidence that this fool going to actually do what I asked them to do,
Mm.
and I chose not to. So now, no, all those things have not been hit as bad for in our area. Maybe it was hit bad for me
Hmm.
because I lack confidence and and close myself off to the miracle that I didn't know. I had no idea that morning that we weren't going to be hit as bad as the next county.
Right.
But when we were hit, I was hit almost as bad as the other people in the other county because I cut myself off from the miracle.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. And I also say I appreciate how you explain that. That probably would help us a lot of sometimes, some other times when we're working through this. If we use an example, then it helps to see the words a bit differently and put it into some relative terms. So I just wanted to point that out and say thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. And and this is one of the things that I do love about A Course in Miracles because it is so individual. You know, you know, you in your psyche has to work this thing out for you.
Hmm.
And that's why I think that it would be I guess you can find people who have made this into a religion, but I find it hard for it to be a religion because the words are so specific to the individual for me, in my understanding. Everybody's going to understand it differently.
Mm,
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what makes this conversation so beneficial, to hear the different words. Perception. This is how we gain perception.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm,
Mhm. Yeah,
mhm.
because everybody has a different viewpoint.
Right.
So what are
Exactly.
your thoughts on that sentence, Harriet?
Well, the thing that came to me is when they say right-minded, what does that mean? And oh shoot, I lost it. I did look it up and mm, mm, I lost it. But basically, when you say right-minded, to me, it's my truth, and my truth and your truth may not necessarily see things in the same way. It's just like an example that I remember seeing some years ago when they were saying two people looking at the same object, but each of them is looking at it from a different angle. So their perspective on that object is going to be different because of the angle, and they cannot see it. Neither one can see it from the other's perspective, because you have to be in that person's shoes in order to see it from their perspective. So for me, the Course in Miracles is an individual thing. It's being able to take the text, the workbook, the teacher's manual, the whole thing, and try and gain a personal understanding that will help me be a better me. So, um,
I'm sorry, I ran out and got my glossary to
oh,
see if I can find right-minded.
right-minded. Well, what I have here is the Oxford Languages Dictionary, having sound views and principles. And to me, that's still general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read something just now that said it's as a state of mind that induces accurate perception.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just said, I mean,
Mhm.
we can all three of us can be looking at the same object at the same time, but from where we stand, we have a different perception. We see it with a different perception. Each one of us has a different perception of whatever that object is that we're viewing, because we're not standing in each other's shoes. We're standing in our own shoes or in our own footprint.
Mm-hmm. This is from the glossary index for A Course in Miracles. It
Okay.
says right-mindedness, the part of our separated minds that contains the Holy Spirit, the voice of forgiveness and reason. We are repeatedly asked to choose it instead of wrong-mindedness, to follow the Holy Spirit's guidance rather than the ego's, and thus return to the one-mindedness of Christ.
Mhm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So
So right-mindedness is the opposite of the ego.
Mhm.
Okay.
and when I just go back to those old terms, sin would be wrong-mindedness. I know
Mhm.
people have a difficult time with that word, but if you're constantly thinking wrong things, and that is wrong-mindedness. And when you are victorious and living a good and godly life, then you are, your main focus of thought is on something that is prosperous and helpful and loving and kind and
Mhm.
obedient, and all of those words that make your life a little bit easier.
Exactly. And now, to me, what that all boils down to is treat others the way you would want to be treated. Because as long as you are treating others the way you want to be treated, now, if you want to be treated evil, that's a different story.
I mean,
What were you
yeah.
going to say?
No, I was just gonna say that what you were just saying was the thing that I was thinking about was, if I treat somebody the way they want to be treated, but some people don't realize that they can be treated better than that.
Mm-hmm.
That if I'm an extension of divine, then I want to treat you in the way that divine would treat you.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, you want me to treat you the way you used to being treated, right?
Right. Right.
So that's where I was just kind of
Mhm.
taking that point that you were saying, and that if you want to be treated evil, yeah, that's a
Don't
thing.
look at me.
Right. But
Don't look at me.
a lot of people don't realize how
Yeah,
good they can be treated. And
right,
so
Mhm.
that's why
exactly.
I always struggle with that.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with that too, because I think that that's why we have so much chaos in the world, because somebody did not realize that, love meant that you got hit upside the head with a brick.
Right. And if you've been treated badly or in an evil manner all of your life from the time you were first born, that's all you know, and that's all you know as far as how to treat people. And when somebody comes along that treats you in a loving and kind manner, it's almost like, have I died and gone to paradise?
Or can I trust them? Then
That's
Right.
it.
you go back
Yes.
to that lack of
Lack of
confidence.
confidence.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm,
Right.
Mm,
mhm.
Or what is it they want from me?
Yeah.
It's like
right.
waiting, as the old saying goes, waiting for the other shoe to fall.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. And so, just looking at it from that perception, that way, then we can see that it does have disastrous effects,
Mhm.
you know. But, I think, there's always somebody that's been treated like, that's been treated, horrible, and they come out loving and kind. I mean, they're victorious in the world. Look at Oprah, right by everybody in the family,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
still, and now she's Oprah, you know.
Exactly. And look at how
So
successful and giving she is.
yeah, and there's some people who, had less happen to them, and worse effects.
And they walk
Uh,
around with a whole tree on their shoulder.
Yeah. So, that's just the thing, is that, you know, um, that, when we are coming out, and I like the way that this had mentioned forgiveness. When we come out of that fog that we're in, of self-hatred and disrespect at every level, and all of that, gunk, it's going to take a lot of forgiveness.
Mhm.
We're going to have to forgive others. We're going to have to forgive ourselves. We're going to have to see forgiveness, how forgiveness is in this sentence, this situation right now. It might not look like it, but it is.
Mhm.
I'm sure that somebody has gone, or has heard of families that have been disrupted, say like a funeral, and a death in the family, and the family splits up for a while, but there's a little section somewhere in the middle where everybody came together and was quiet for a moment. It might, so I think that we have, and we have to always see the miracle all the time, because it's everywhere.
Mhm.
It's in that spot. But I didn't always see it. I mean, I see it now. That's why I said when I first started reading this 20 years ago or 30 years ago, however long ago it was, I didn't get this,
No, but
so
the more you read it, the more it begins to make sense.
yeah. And also, so let me ask y'all
Or the more
question.
clarity you get from it.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's what I was going to ask. Is it because I'm older now, have a little bit more life experience, or is it because I want to have a more open and complete, a more authentic spiritual life?
I say it's all of the above.
Okay.
Kind of
It's
thinking
a, it's a
one might lead to the other.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, life experiences, um, a better understanding, because of what we learn over a period of time, all of that helps to clarify things for us, and we're able to see and understand what we're reading here with a better understanding.
And that's what number 4 says, because we were just getting ready to get to that. So the miracle perceives everything as it is.
Mm-hmm.
We came to that just through the course and conversation. So
Right.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Number 5, if nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. All right, y'all.
Mhm.
Get your forks and napkins out.
Hold on
What
to
do you
your
think
fork,
on
because
that
the
one?
best is yet to come.
What do you think on that one, number 5?
Let's see, if nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but. To me, that's a very profound statement.
Mm-hmm.
It just, cuts right to the chase. Yeah.
What would you all
Mm-hmm.
say is the truth
Yeah.
that they're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think?
I think it's the truth. I really do. I think it's the truth, because at some level, there is, that's all that there is there's only the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you mean by the truth? How would you like? Because what we were saying earlier was, everybody has their own truth
Mm-hmm.
or their
Mm-hmm.
perception
Right,
at
right.
some level, and that's subjective. But at
Mm-hmm.
some degree, there is that's it. There is a undeniable truth that no matter what angle you look at it, it's the same thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That the
Yeah.
truth it stands naked.
Right.
What
That's
would
the
you
truth.
now? Many Christians would say the truth is Jesus, right? My question to you
Right.
all is, when you all say the truth, what are you all referring to?
In a spiritual way.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was gonna say, truth is like up and down.
Right.
Mhm.
Those things that you can't deny that. And but for Christians, it's okay that they see their leader as as, as that square. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
know, as that square. Um I see, for me personally, And I think that that's what the question was. And we just had this conversation the other night as well. Me personally, I see all of it, whatever it is, creation, source, all of that is truth. All of that is where everything comes from, you know, and everybody else has bits and pieces of it, but we still can't see the whole of truth, because truth is huge and minuscule all at the same time. You really can't, you really can't pin it down, because um you can see it so fully.
Right.
I mean, I really don't know how to explain it, because it really makes no sense for me to explain it, because yes, my truth and your truth, it might seem the same, it might seem different, but we both believe in the up. We both
Mhm.
know that up is up, and we both know that down is down, and that's the truth. And I think that as more and more people see spiritual law simply as that, simply as more, and I this is where I'm kind of coming from a little bit more as science.
Mhm.
I think science has so much right. We have created God in a specific image, this that man that lives in the sky.
Put them in
But
a box.
yes, but if it's just simply energy,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, the energy collected upon itself is bigger than anything that I can ever imagine, is rich, is full, is complete. It needs nothing else. And yeah, at some level, or some atom, or something that's inside cell that's inside my body, I know that. And I know that you know that too. And I know that everybody who's saying that they don't know that, I know that they know that too. But I don't know how to, because I think we all know the truth, but then our ego gets in the way, and we can't be innocent anymore. We have to allow our ego to be more specific.
Mm.
I know that's a long answer. Did I lose?
No,
That
no.
I'm
was a
listening.
long answer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Richard.
The other day I came across something that, to me, I think in a sense answers that question. And it says Buddha was not a Buddhist, Jesus was not a Christian,
Mhm.
and what was the other? There was three of them. Oh, Muhammad was not a Muslim.
Mhm. Yeah.
They taught love, and that was their religion. So to me, that kind of sums up what truth is
Mhm.
all about.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, what
That was
about you? What does truth mean to you spiritually?
for me spiritually. I had
Yeah.
previously thought of the truth when anytime that the truth was for me, the truth was consciousness.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
pure awareness of
Mhm.
Mhm.
um that there is no guy sitting in the throne on high,
Looking down to
puppeteering, right? That
Oh,
that
could be.
that
You
that there
know,
that
could be.
right that we all are interconnected, and we
Mhm.
are there is no you and me. There's me and me, and other me and other me, and
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
that from consciousness, and then from consciousness you are aware of the power of love, right? So
Right.
so whenever I think of the truth, I always think of it in terms of consciousness. And but y'all's answers have really been giving me a nice new perspective, or a greater perception to look at this. But when I read it, I was like, if nothing but consciousness, pure consciousness exists,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so then it gets to an interesting place, because then there's, again, two different types of truths. There is the all-encompassing truth, regardless of what your opinion is. There is
Right.
the truth, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's individual,
Yes.
saying,
Mm-hmm.
slices of the pie. And so I think that's where this is eye-opening, because I have a lot of conversations with spiritual people, and they like to argue back and forth, and I'm always wondering, this is one of the reasons, because everyone's there are some people who I think are seem to articulate an understanding of an all-encompassing truth, and then there's some people who only think of my truth and your truth.
Right.
And so then that's when I see the back and forth, especially in these Facebook groups, because ultimately they're coming down to arguing from their own truths rather than
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
everybody operating under a central truth.
Mm-hmm. 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 And I really like it because you're right in this um right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. And I think that we have our programming has taught us not to see ourselves as perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are certain people that we can say, okay, this person reached perfection, or then there are certain there, but it's always there's something wrong with you, so we're really not allowed to see ourselves as perfect. And I think that when we are so busy standing by our own truth egoistically, now I'm saying that I can't see what you're saying is truth because my thing is perfect. The thing that I believe in is perfect. So if I'm perfect and I see you as different, then you can't be perfect. And I think that if we would just allow ourselves to all see everybody as perfect, because really we are. I mean, there's not another Penelope Carroll like me. It might be another Penelope Carroll out here in the world somewhere, but that individual is not
Mm,
me.
mm, mm.
So I am perfection. Do
Yes, you
you
are.
know how difficult it is to be born in this world? It's really about chance. You know, some women have never been able to get pregnant. you know,
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
it really has to be. It's so precise. And just to think a soul comes in at that precise moment to become who I am. How can I not call myself perfect? How can I not call you perfect? Why? Because you like to get drunk and pee upside the tree. How can I not say that
Mm,
you're not perfect?
mm, 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 mm,
You
mm.
know, you just reminded me of something that I think I thought of Facebook today, where they were talking about perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was something, I can't find it right now, but it was something that Bob Marley said about perfection. And I'm sorry I can't find it right I can't put my finger on it, but it just struck me. And of course, when you started talking, it just reminded me of that. And basically, what he was saying, that there is no such thing as perfection. Uh, and I'm saying it wrong, but what he is basically saying, that perfection, I don't even know how
It's
to
not
phrase it
based on
now.
somebody's image, and that's
Exactly,
generally what it has become. This is
exactly.
the image of perfection.
Right,
She did
right.
that cake
Yeah.
perfectly. You know, you know, these people have perfect beauty. you know,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm,
So when we're
mhm,
saying things like that, when it's based on somebody's, what you call it, scale,
mhm,
when perfection is based on somebody's scale, then no, that's not perfection. How can that be perfection if it's based on what you think, on what you think only?
mhm.
You know, we have to be able to open ourselves up to see the beauty in it all. You know, some people are really, really, really good at, conversation, or putting on a brave face, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful thing, but everybody's not that. We gotta,
Mhm.
just because this person might not have the best grammar, or look the prettiest, aesthetically, or something. How can we say that that person has, or that that their value is less than?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it and what you just brought to my mind is the old cliche, we only get one chance to make a good first impression. And we very often we will see people and maybe they're not dressed the way we think they should be for the occasion, or maybe, you know, um, whatever the situation might be, they don't fit this picture of
Hmm.
perfection that we have in our mind, rather than getting to know the person. Of course,
Hmm.
some people do send off negative vibes, and I mean, if you're into tuned, you pick up on it right away. But even then, um, it's nothing wrong with giving that individual um, room to grow,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
the opportunity to um, um, explain themselves, or let us know who they are, even though what we're seeing and who they are might be worlds apart.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know.
Hmm. What are your thoughts, Richard? We're still on 5. We haven't even gotten to 6 yet.
I've just started to get into the habit of,
Excuse me.
acknowledging the fact that when I see somebody, I'm seeing there's a choice that I can make.
Hmm. Yeah.
Am I going to see the human, or am I
Hmm.
going to see the being? Or
Yeah.
actually, or see both. And what I
Hmm.
found is that I see both. I see the human, the flawed, and I also see the state of perfection. Whether they
Mhm,
show it through their human or not is a separate story. But I,
mhm.
I recognize and acknowledge those things are there. And so I'm finding now that I have a I have a choice. So
Exactly.
which one I'm seeing, which one I'm interacting with. Um, and I also have the same choice in terms of which one am I being?
Hmm.
Am
Mhm.
I operating out of my being, or am I, and so I think um this just kind of sets the stage for me to really truly consider, who am I looking at, and who am I looking with when I'm interacting with people. The better that I am at, operating up out of my, the most divine part of me, operating out of love, and
Hmm.
regardless of whether they're angry or not, if I operate out of love and see them without the judgment or anything, just acknowledging the fact that this is where you are on your journey,
Mhm.
then
Hmm. Yeah.
I think there's something to be said in terms of how I might be able to not only be in my right minded state, but encourage them to match that energy, since people talk about matching energies these days. Um,
Hmm.
but I do like the idea of this idea of perfection, that you have the human, you have the being, and too often
Hmm.
we've defined perfection from a human 3D
Yeah.
standpoint and
Mhm.
Hmm.
overlooked the fact that the perfection And the epitome of the perfection is the being, the divinity, the connection with God, the truth.
Yeah.
You know, that they have, whether they articulate it or not. Again, that's a them thing. That's not my circus, not my monkeys. But I am liking up this idea of perfection, and I'm just super honored to have to continue throughout the day hearing Divine. And when I say that, it's not even just like voice in my head. It's
We know.
it's y'all. It's y'all. like hearing the wisdom that y'all are dropping, and you know, the guy at the store, and you know, so. But you want me to
And
read 6?
sometimes,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, read 6. Oh, go ahead, Harry.
no, I was just going to say Richard was talking about people that are older than him and probably had more experience, but we can learn even from a little child.
Don't worry all the time. They teach me all the time.
Oh, that's my greatest teacher right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead with 6.
I have said that only what God creates, or what you create with the same will, has any real existence.
Oh, that's powerful.
Ooh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So that's
say that again, Richard.
I have said that only what God creates, or what you create with the same will, has any real existence.
Wow.
Again, not my circus, not my monkeys. The only things that I'm trying to see is what I know came from Divine, whether it was outside of me or whether it was through me. But if it doesn't come from there, then it's part of the illusion.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, not too long ago, I think I'm about to recommit to this, and the fact that it's hard for me to have, like, for me to not get into a place where I'm reacting to people. Just start moving with the fact that if you want to reach me, you got to reach me through love.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Like that.
Yeah. Now this one right here, I have said that only what God creates, or what you create with the same will. So this is saying that so this is saying that the same will that is creation, source, essence, God, you know, whatever your concept, higher power, that will and my will are aligned. Right? And everything that I do within that divine alignment, that's the stuff that is real.
And notice that the word will is spelled with a capital W. Yep. Yeah. So that is spirit, that is divine.
Because it's only one.
That's right.
It's only one.
That's right. And the sooner we come to that realization and accept it, because
and live in it. And live in it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta, you know, we gotta live in it. We gotta practice it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes it takes a conscious effort to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like you were saying, Richard, earlier, is that choice. You have to choose it. You have to choose it every single time.
Exactly.
It's always available.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Yes.
What?
Yes. Just know you know how, for me, it happens at the full moons and the new moons and all of that. Like, those days is just filled with so much knowledge, wisdom. And it's almost like I'm putting together a lot of puzzle pieces and connecting big pieces you know, like it's this is beautiful. That's all. Can I read the last two? Because I know we're running out of time.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
This then is all the innocent can see. They do not suffer from distorted perception.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And damn, I am not there yet, y'all. I am not there. I am sad to say because I can see it. I can see it, but I am not there, y'all.
That's
Oh,
why we're here.
somebody out of my mind first thing this morning. So nope. I'm not there yet. Mm.
That's why we're here, trying to get there.
Yeah, this is just connecting dots for me and continuing to. I've been getting the perception card for the last 4 months in card pulls.
Mhm.
What's the perception card?
The perception card is really telling me that I need to you know, to gain true, basically to gain true perception,
Right.
rather than having the distorted perception of looking through past experiences, you know, and fear.
Right,
Right.
right. But what card is it? You know.
It is the perception card. It's an oracle card.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Yeah.
But you know, on the whole, I see this just, you know, bringing us back to, you know, the what we're able to see as we gain more innocence in
Yeah.
our daily practice.
Yes.
And I find innocence interesting. I might do it in one place and I might not do it. You know, I might do it at one store and then go to the next store and I'm not that way, and then it kind of ebbs and flows. It seems situational, but I think I'm getting more conscious of it and getting more
Yeah, there you
practice
go.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, this whole thing is so different than what you are taught. And it's not even like,
Yes.
and not necessarily what you're taught, but what you're shown as normal. And
Right.
and so this is really interesting, because the more that I start to move to the innocence, the more I start to see blessings come. So I'm really intrigued by this. I'm sorry. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts.
No, you could.
Well, my thoughts on these last two sentences is that, you know, this then is all the innocent can see. I can only see what's real. And that is what is completely in alignment with me and creation. And I have to admit, I see a lot of that. You know, I see some of my messed up stuff over there in the corner. I see that too. But I really do see how I really do see in real time and in real life. And whether that is, you know, age, or it is that I am really focusing on my spiritual alignment, I really can I can see that, you know. So my perception is not as distorted, let's put it like that. It's not as distorted as it has been. And so I have faith and confidence that as I continue on this path, that sounds like the round table. So that's gonna kind of like be my round table. I can see that if I continue on this path, I will reach, I will attain enlightenment. And that's the goal. That's the goal for me. Okay, what about you, Harriet? And you know, I just did my round table because, you know, it was kind of like it just led into that. But you don't have to. You can go ahead and say that. You can just talk on these last two sentences, and if you want to include your round table, that's cool because it is 6:21.
Oh, okay. Well, what came to my mind of late, I have been having flashbacks of some of my screw ups. And when I think about them, you know, one of the sources of my inspiration or books is the Bible. It's also the Course in Miracles, and with the Bible, it's like I pick and choose, because I'm coming to the realization that some of it was written to be able to get whatever message needed to be gotten out in a language that the people could understand. But well, they call them parables, we call them fables, but they teach lessons. And this has been a way of teaching people and keeping people in line all, throughout the ages. And no matter what the culture is, it has been a part of the culture. You look at the Greek mythologies, the myths of the Greeks, the Romans, and those ancient peoples. And you look at the many of the stories of the African natives, no matter where they come from. Those stories that are being taught, they're all being taught to give the listeners a sense of guidance, a right direction, a sense of right direction, so they can stay out of trouble. And like I said, I've been I've been haunted by some of my misdeeds of the past. And I stop and think, at the time that they occurred, I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed, all those negative feelings that you have. But now when I look back over them, I'm thinking, what lesson did I get here? And this is how I'm seeing this whole thing. And this is what this is telling me, that I'm growing, and I'm still growing. And as long as my breath comes in and out of my body, I'm still going to be growing and learning.
Cool beans. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Richard, did you say what your round table is?
I'll just say really quickly that I find this whole passage to be pretty fascinating, in terms of the concept of innocence, how to avoid having how the more innocent, the more that we embrace the spirit of innocence, the better that we are at having a true perception. And so it speaks a lot to what's going on in our inner world that causes us to see the outer world the way it is. And lastly, just always embracing the idea of a miracle-based frame of reference, that that just because I don't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. And I can't, I just need to focus on embracing that spirit of innocence in all that I do, and it'll just naturally open up for the previously imperfect things to get back into perfection. So that's it.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It is.
Yay, that had great class today.
Yes,
Really
indeed.
great
Yes, indeed.
session.
Yes.
Really great session. Okay,
I
so
always enjoy our sessions.
I do, right?
Me too. Me too. I look forward to it.
We are so cool. But we are. I think so. I think we are so cool.
Yes, indeed. I think we are.
Okay. So
I know we are.
Facts.
What's the date? The date is the 16th. Okay,
Correct.
so tomorrow morning we're going to be continuing in our sessions on health and healing. We're going to continue with energy, bringing in energy. So we're going to stick with energy for a little bit. But we're gonna. I really want to focus more on the different modalities that we can be using, like crystals and different ways
Herbs and
to use the
aromas,
herbs, not just not just to use them as food, but as
medicinals, what they
yeah,
were to begin with.
yeah, we can use them as talismans and things like that.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's tomorrow from 11 to 12. From 7 to 8:30, we will be continuing in our story of flight. Really fun book. I'm enjoying it so much. Saturday the 19th, we're doing the book of Enoch. And Richard, you got something coming in on the 27th. And what did you say that was going? I wrote it down, but I can't see it because my pen was
Sea bears.
oh, sea bears.
Yeah, sea-bears.
BARES or BEARS?
BEAR. Oh, I'm sorry, not bears. This is bear, sea bear, BEAR.
Oh,
BEAR. Okay.
Right.
All right.
wow.
All right. And that's for the 27th. And I'm just going to let you all know that we're going to have a movie time over. We're going to do that on September the 30th. And it's going to be over at Sandra's house.
Okay.
So, just bring, we, how we do, bring potluck. It's still going to be from 2 to 4.
Okay.
And I'll give everybody the address. They're gonna be from 2 to 4. And the movie that we're gonna discuss is take on What Dreams May Come. With Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Okay, what's the name of it again?
What Dreams May Come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an older movie, so don't look at it if you haven't seen it in a while. Don't look at it. So one of the things, Richard, we like to do is we like to just kind of get together and discuss the metaphysical concepts that we see in movies. So that's going to be that on September the 30th. And that happens to be my birthday weekend. Whoop, 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 whoop.
All right, all right.
I will, I will actually be, throwing down a little bit more because, birthday's not over.
Hey, celebrate the whole month.
So that's it, everybody. So thank you all so much for today, for coming today. I have really enjoyed the session. So would anyone like to close us out in prayer? Richard?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask everybody to breathe in, breathe out. One more time. Breathe in, breathe out. We call upon the archangels, spirit guides, ancestors, to the whole spirit realm. Say thank you. Thank you for being in the midst of us today as we discuss true perception, as we explore innocence, as we explore a new way of being in the world, to be a benefit for the world and to bring joy to ourselves and our lives and enrichment. As we depart from this place, we ask that you continue to be with us, continue to speak with us about the lessons today, how to apply those in our day-to-day life, and how to share this message with others. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we honor you. With that, as above, so below. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. I'm not familiar with that term. Can you expound on that for a moment?
Yeah, that's a West African term within their spirituality. That's almost like amen. Amen.
Mhm.
Okay. Ashe. Thank
Yeah.
you. Learn something new every day, everybody. Learn something new every day.
Right.
All righty then, everybody. Love you.
All
Love
right. Love you too.
all.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
Bye bye.
Peace and
Bye.
blessings.
Peace and blessings. Uh-oh. How did that? There it is.